the awesome responsibility that he now carries for us all. We offer him our loyalty and devotion, just as his mother devoted so much to so many for so long. And with the passing of the second Elizabethan age, we usher in a new era in the magnificent history of our great country, exactly as Her Majesty would have wished, by saying the words, "God save the King."
Prime Minister Liz Truss there, ending her statement, saying, "God save the King." Liz Truss there reflecting that it was just 2 days ago that she had been to Balmoral to be received by Her Majesty and asked to form a government, asked to become her 15th Prime Minister. That's the last image we have of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, whose death was announced today. Liz Truss also spoke for the nation when she talked of the devastation, the shock that we all feel. She said that Queen Elizabeth, who spanned 70 years on the throne, was the monarch that the vast majority of citizens of the United Kingdom ever knew. The rock, Liz Truss said, on which modern Britain was built. The Prime Minister described Queen Elizabeth as the very spirit of Great Britain and said that spirit will endure. And she also reflected on, as we all will be over the next few weeks, months and many, many years to come, on Her Majesty's devotion to duty. To the end, her life was devoted to service, to carrying out her duties as the monarch, the longest serving monarch in the history. The King, His Majesty the King, Charles has said at the time of the Queen's death, he said, "The death of my beloved mother, Her Majesty the Queen, is a moment of great sadness for me and all members of my family." He continued, "We mourn profoundly the passing of a cherished sovereign and a much-loved mother. I know her loss will be deeply felt throughout the country, the realms and the Commonwealth, and by countless people around the world." King Charles continued, "During the period of mourning and change, my family and I will be comforted and sustained by our knowledge of the respect and deep affection in which the Queen was so widely held." That from the King, as Liz Truss, the Prime Minister, referred to him as King Charles III. Let's talk to our royal correspondent, Rhiannon.
Her presence was to many prime ministers going forward. And I think that by the same token, Britain looks a little more tentative than it did just a few days ago. You now have a brand new prime minister and a brand new head of state at the same time. A head of state who is avowedly wants to slim the monarchy down, wants to have a
Queen was so widely held. A statement by the former Prince of Wales, now King Charles III, because the Prime Minister has confirmed that the Queen, now having died at the age of 96, has been succeeded by Charles and will be known as King Charles III and the Queen Consort, of course, Camilla. Liz Truss has just delivered her tribute and joined Chris Mason, our political editor.
Would have anticipated. So, for example, the Union flags flying at half-mast. We've also seen the announcement being put on the gates there, announcing the sad passing of Queen Elizabeth II. But
I'm told now from people close to her that she is now devotedly so. And that was an authentic and a genuine speech, which she just delivered, speaking about Queen Elizabeth II's sense of devotion, the fact she is the rock on which modern Britain
affected around 33 million people. And Royal Islam has this.
Life was changed forever. She was crowned aged just 27, the start of a lifetime of public service.
I shall dedicate myself anew to your service. But I want to ask you all to pray that God may give me wisdom and strength, and that I may faithfully serve Him and you all the days of my life.
And several public events had to be cancelled because she could not stand or wasn't well enough to be in public at some junctures starting October last year.
Some at their parents as well. I spoke to a man today, he was 82. He said the Queen got on her throne when he was just a schoolboy still. The Queen's impact on this area, and it can't be understated. And
sense of duty we saw being displayed almost to her dying day.
The emphasis throughout Elizabeth II's reign has been on duty and public service. And let's just take a moment to think about why the language of
will be recalled for MPs to pay tributes.
Very much indeed. Let me just add one other final crucial change for many, many people, and that is that, of course, the new king also becomes head of the Anglican Church, the Church of England, which was a role.
King and the royal family, may God draw near them and comfort them in the days, weeks and months ahead. He goes on, as we grieve together, we know that in losing our beloved Queen, we have lost the person whose steadfast loyalty, service and humility has helped us make sense of who we are through decades of extraordinary change in our world, nation and society. He refers
kept quiet.
The Imo State Governor Hope Uzodinma says the APC
the business environment,
카메이트는 스마트폰 운영을 통해 작물 재배, 재배 산물
The UK Prime Minister Liz Truss also addressing the nation. If I can come to you, Jonathan, at this point. Before I do that, Jonathan, let's just have our viewers listen in to what the UK Prime Minister said just
of the Queen at this time. Moyo Thomas is a foreign affairs correspondent. She joins me live from Abuja. Moyo, Queen Elizabeth was in Kenya, I believe, in 1952 when the news of her father's death filtered in. And there's been some kind of a rich relationship between
need to. She was never a queen, but the queen, faithful to her values, her nation, the Commonwealth, and to God. We will mourn her, we will miss her, but our overwhelming sentiment will be of gratitude, profound, heartfelt, and sincere thanks for what she did, what she stood for the life
taking the
be glorious.